versus Mal from Rory Mal. Who won? Now, first off, let me just say, I appreciate y'all watching this, but I'm disappointed in y'all. This is why I'm disappointed in y'all. Because y'all actually was going to watch this video to see who won this debate. I'm not going to talk about who won this debate. What I want to talk about is, why was it important for something like this to actually take place? Now, DJ Hed came on the Rory and Mal show, but instead of just being interviewed by Rory and Mal, they actually set up a DJ Hed versus Mal, talking about the Kendrick Lamar and the Drake whole battle thing, which is year one. It's like it's been a year since this whole thing started. So they wanted to kind of recap with DJ Hed. I don't want to say defending, but I would say on the side of Kendrick Lamar, and then Mal on the side of Drake. They went through some topics, talking about the records of the battle, talking about the energy of the battle, and so far and so forth. I want y'all to actually watch that interview because, first off, I feel like it's important for the culture, and I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. But at the same time, it's like whether you're on the side of Kendrick and Drake, it's refreshing to know that it's 1 year later, it's an anniversary, and naturally we're just celebrating what has happened and transpired in hip hop. It was, in my opinion, it's the biggest battle in hip hop history. Numbers wise, impact wise, people being on either side. You know, like I love the Jay-Z and Nas battle, but I feel like impact wise, this is bigger. It seems like it's a bigger stage. You know, social media is out. There's a lot going on. I love the Ice Cube and NWA beef and battle. You know, exceptional record, but this is just bigger. So they like, yo, 1 year anniversary from, I think, Euphoria, or even when the battle just kind of got started. So they kind of just went at it, you know what I mean? Rory was out the conversation along with the woman co-host of the Rory and Mal show. They were on the sidelines asking the questions, being very, very clear that they don't want to sway anybody's opinion or state their opinion. So that was a good thing. And they just wanted Hed and Mal to just go at it and just battle. You know what I mean? Now, why do I think it's important for the culture? We're at a stage right now where everyone is trying to, you know, bring popularity to their brand and their channel. All due respect, that's a great thing. But there's some people, some streamers, some journalists, some YouTubers that, in my opinion and others' opinions, sometimes they take it too far, or sometimes they may have an opinion that's just not in favor. Is that wrong? Absolutely not. But in some cases where you see things going a certain way, instead of, you know, our media, let's just call it our hip hop media, instead of acknowledging it for what it is, some people like to start narratives and paint narratives against each other. And I don't think that that's fair, or I don't think that that's right. And when they say things, you know, that are quote unquote delusional, what ends up happening is you got media going against each other, you got artists going against each other, and you got personal things being said back and forth that, in my opinion, doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't lead to greatness. It doesn't lead to the history of the culture. Even though beefs are prominent in the culture, you know, taking it out of context, it's too much. It's too much. Aside from that, I think it was important for a conversation like this to happen, and a debate like this to happen, because two parties, Hed and Mal, they honestly sat there without raising their voice crazy, without talking over each other, and actually had a conversation and a debate about one of the greatest battles in hip hop history. And I know a lot of y'all like the, you know, crash outs and things like that, but this was a really good conversation. It was nice. It was easy. You know, everybody made their points. They're quote unquote public figures, and they're also in a sense like they're acquaintances, so they have a friendship in a certain right. So they're not dissing each other, talking trash and things like that. They just stating their opinion and letting the other combat what's going on. We need that. No disrespect, but one of our biggest problems or stigmas or things that other media classes say about us, especially hip hop and black culture, is that we don't know how to communicate with each other. That we always talking over each other. We always got something to say in the middle of somebody else stating something. We crash out when we hear something we don't like. These are things that people say about us. And although I believe overall it's not true, there are some bad apples that do that. They talk over each other. They say something crazy in the midst of all of it. They say something to get a rise out of you, even though they don't mean it. So it was refreshing to see that this interview had levels of people respecting each other and having a nice debate. It almost felt like how a presidential debate would be. It kind of felt like that, like how each candidate, they wouldn't go overboard, but they're also going to stand firmly on what they believe in. You know what I'm saying? Mal has some points where he talked about, you know, the level of Drake not actually benefiting from this, whether he won or lost, he wasn't going to benefit. And in my opinion, I think that that's half true, but it's a truth that he stands on. He feels like Drake wasn't going to benefit from this either way, whether he won or lost. Hed was in the context of, you know, first off, this conversation is not about who won. It's more about the impact and the effect of the actual battle, which I agree with that as well. You know what I mean? He was also talking about the integrity that you have when you're talking about situations like this with people who are your friends in the music industry that may be very close to the battle. You know, having that Hed builds himself and his brand off of, you know, integrity, whether it's journalistic or it's personal integrity. He builds his brand based on that. He's not going to say anything out of context that either wasn't said to him or was said to him in secrecy. He's going to make sure he holds on to that first and foremost. And, you know, Mal, on the other hand, although he might say things that he feels like he should have said a lot better later on, still, he comes from a perspective where he stands on what he feels. If he feels this way, he's going to stand on it. You know what I mean? Which we need people like that these days, to stand on what you say. You know, this world has been completely took over by people who just don't stand on what they say. They say what they say, and then all of a sudden they take it back, and it's something different every day. So for Mal to be refreshing and saying like, hey, this is what I stand on. These are my reasonings. And I don't know what else to tell y'all. Hey, listen, I respect that 100%. These are two platforms. You know, DJ Hed with the bigger picture, effective immediately. Mal with the Rory Mal show, and he's been doing like skits and stuff like that with other brands. These are two platforms that are covering our hip hop community. These are two platforms that's covering our hip hop community. Whether you like one or the other is totally up to you. But the one thing that I can say is respectfully, I watch both platforms to get an opinion about what they may think, to get some information about what's going on in the community. I watch both shows. You know what I mean? Do I watch one show more than the other? That's not for y'all to know. But they're important to our hip hop community because they're around some of the people who shake and move the industry. Some of the DJs, some of the artists, some of the executives, some of the people at these companies that do partnerships with hip hop. They're around these type of people. So for them to have a debate and a conversation like this just warrants how great our hip hop culture is and where it's gonna go even after 50 years. You feel what I'm saying? We want more debates like this. After watching this interview, one of the first things I thought was, yo, I wonder if Joe Budden would do a versus against somebody in the hip hop community. I wonder if Justin Hunt would do a versus against somebody in the hip hop community. I wonder if Curtis King, which I've seen Curtis King debate with other producers and other personalities. I've seen him do that. So kudos to Curtis King. He's actually one of my favorite YouTubers. So shout out to Curtis King. I definitely want to get you on the channel one of these days. But what if Curtis King did a versus against, you know, somebody? What if Rob Markman, another stellar journalist, does a versus against somebody in certain topics? Like, this is, first off, great content. Number two, this is great for the hip hop community. And then it also, last but not least, before I get out of here, because I want to know y'all opinions. I want y'all to put y'all opinions in the comments. I talk back. Y'all know me. If y'all watch my channel, y'all know I'll talk back. Last but not least, I want to see the camaraderie and the friendships and the energy between the hip hop media. A lot of fans and a lot of artists think that hip hop media is so segregated and apart from each other. They can get on one platform and talk shit about a blogger or a journalist, and then get on another platform and say, oh, I didn't say that, but I fuck with you, but I don't fuck with this person. You know what I'm saying? They need to understand that this hip hop media thing, we're all together in a sense. And me coming in as a YouTuber and covering hip hop media in a certain right on the side of production and exploration and, you know, the balance between hip hop and life. With me, I understand that there's an energy and a camaraderie that needs to be upheld in hip hop media. Like Elliot Wilson said in a couple of his interviews, he's like, yo, we need to get back to hip hop media having a prominent force or a prominent say in how stories are being told in hip hop, because as of now, there's so many other people who don't have as much interest, don't do enough homework, don't cover the hip hop culture enough, that's speaking on it and saying things that people are following. We need our hip hop media to lock in, network with each other, debate with each other. We need more of that, because at the end of the day, who's going to cover the history? Answer me that. Who do you want covering the history of our beloved hip hop? Who do you want covering our history? Great interview, DJ Hed. Great interview, Mal. Shout out to Rory Mal. Shout out to Effective Immediately. Shout out to my boy Silas, you know what I'm saying, Hed's manager. Shout out to him. We always have talks like this, you know what I mean? And man, I appreciate y'all watching. Let me know in the comments, what are your best moments of the debate? Let me know what y'all think, you know, should happen moving forward with our hip hop, you know, community and our hip hop media. And also, let me know if there's like a hip hop media versus thing going on right now. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate y'all. You already know. Council Poly Rob, I am back. I am here. And this is workload time. Let's get it.